In the last section, we set up the two contracts, two smart contracts, ERC-20 tokens for A token and B token, and we minted 1 million tokens of each and gave them to the first account. So in this section now, we're gonna deploy the Uniswap contracts, the one that is the factory for trading pairs. So we're gonna then use that contract to create a pair A token, B token, liquidity pool A token, B token. Then we're gonna populate that pool with let's say 20% of the tokens, and so that will give us a 1-to-1 price, 1-to-1 ratio, so price of 1. And try to use the other functions. So we have three main functions for liquidity pool. One is trading, buying, selling. Another one is depositing more tokens, so populating the liquidity pool. And the last one is withdrawing tokens from the pool. So this is going to be the goal for this section. That being said, let's get started. We left off with our Ganache local blockchain running with these two contracts deployed, and 1 million token minted, A token and B token minted. But the Ganache is a temporary blockchain, so whenever we start the computer, all this data is gone. Therefore, we need to redeploy these contracts and remint everything. When we mint it, we use the command line, the tools the Truffle console to run the mint functions. So there are no migration script. There's no migration script, right? And we would have to run this command whenever we deployed a new Ganache blockchain. Therefore, it would be convenient to actually record this minting as part of the migration, and that's also what we're going to do right now. On here. Why not?
Huh?
Why not?
Sorry?
Why not?
You just said you were tired.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Sure. So this is what you get after you run the migrations. Yeah. So the contracts exist, A token, B tokens, but we have nothing minted. So I'm gonna start a new migration that is just gonna call these mint functions. Every migration should have begin with a name, with a number. That would be the number has to follow the previous one. So we'll call it mint here. Acquire this guy. This function is async. Network and accounts. So let account, we send everything to the first account. So it's gonna be wait a token not deployed. And B token should be the second one. And now we a token mint to account, and that's the thing, you have to use PN like before. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, should be 24 of them. 18 selected, 18 selected, 24 selected. Okay, so that's enough. And then we need the second one for B token. Okay. Alright, so let's go. And project ERC-20. Yard run. So every time we reset, it's gonna bring it's gonna be deploy everything. And actually, the problem is the contracts will change. So if we run this guy, you will see this contract number will change. Right, which is annoying because if we go here and we add a token, we would have to redo this every time. So the 1 million is here. What am I doing? A token, custom token. Right. So they are here. But if I start another migration, this stuff will change the contract, and I will have to reconfigure this. So it's interesting that there's an option here to start from to restart a given number. If I do F3, you will only do starting from the third migration. It's a minting, and which, well, which means that the contract number didn't change. 41, right? Yeah, 41. So if I mint more, I should have more here. Yeah, now 2 million now. Okay, that's this. So next step is to deploy the Uniswap contracts. I'm going to add this Uniswap V2 core. So the name is Uniswap V2 core. Start this guy. We'll go back to ERC-20. Then we add the migration to deploy these contracts to our blockchain. So for Uniswap. To deploy the Uniswap V2, we have to deploy the factory. And it should be in the here, yeah. Okay, so that's the stuff we have to require. Copy the path. token migration, what's that? Not sure why we have this tile open. So we require Uniswap factory. Okay, that's node modules, Uniswap V2 core, build, and Uniswap V2 factory, that is an clear everything else. Okay, so actually this is not good. Okay, I have to put a new here. Alright, so our contract is deployed. So next step is to create a liquidity pool. So we use this factory. So create another migration. Let's add the creation of the pair of the pool. Okay, so to that we have to call the function create pair. So let's get the factory here and call create pair that. Create pair, and it takes the address of the two tokens. Token address B token address. Okay. Okay, should be actually a token lowercase, because that guy is the A token that was deployed. And the same thing for B token. B token. Okay, and I can await that. That should complete. That should complete when the pair is created. Our transaction is in mind, and we. So if we await, what we're gonna get is a transaction ID, and actually we want the pool address. So I have to call the function get pair. Takes the same parameters. Pool address. Awaited. Let's see the result of that. Alright, so one thing here I have to do from again. From address 0, account 0. Let's migrate this guy again. Swap. Await to be async. Token is not defined. Alright. You see, I need to take these two lines here. Deploying contract. Send transaction from must be defined. Which line? Project. Idea. Oh, 14. It's great pair. I have to pay for this. I might have to pay for second one though. Get pair should be local. Alright. Let's see. It works without this guy. Yeah. So every time I run, I get a new pool address because this actually deploys a contract. 7.6 was the last one. Yeah, it's 83 now. So that's why I want to save this address. Then I create an environment file and put a pool address here. So I've done this before, that's why I have already an environment file. But I got to add this .env file so that I can read this environment dude. The reason why it works here without this stuff is because whenever you do the artifact thing and you deploy through the truffle deployer, it actually stores the address inside the JSON file. But the one I'm deploying for Uniswap V2, in fact for this contract here, which comes from this build, actually will not have the deployed. So for instance, if I create a new file, let's call it what's the API for adding stuff? Add liquidity. Okay. And in that guy, I access the deployed. That is not going to work as far as I understand. And so that this whole thing should work here, but this deploy will I think it's gonna fail. So migrate, that could be 5. Yeah, and it says the contract has not been detected. Right, so that's the problem. And we're going to solve this problem by using this environment file where I save the contract address. The contract address, so now it's a pool, right? So it's not the same thing. We have to look at Uniswap V2, and that's the contract for pair. This one, Uniswap V2 pair. V2 pair. So we change that to pair. And this is pair. And that is pair. Set the provider as the same. But this time we do at, and then we use the process and dot pool address, which we get from the environment dot env. Right, and we do dot env dot config. Okay, so let's run this one. So the path here doesn't work. I have to pass because the environment file is in a directory up. It's a bit silly, but let's do something like path segment and path segment. By default, it's what? Process suitability. What? What is process suitability? Well, it's current directory, of course, but where is it? Migrations. Okay, that's fair then. So we want to combine this guy. It's migrations. And we are just one level up for the other guy. So that would be this. It's really annoying actually that it has to fetch every time. It's always the same version. Alright, so that worked. Oh, so we got the pair there, and we can try to call a method on it. So we can try to call get reserves. Get reserves, this guy, and it should return return 1, reserve 2. Let's see. Get reserves. Just awaited to. Well, not sure I need to wait, but okay. R. Print R. To false 5. Okay, got this one right. And 0 and 0 words 0 and 0 and 0. Let's try without the wait, because this guy should be able to be called synchronously. No, has to be awaited. Alright, next step now. Well, not really next step, but we should also deploy the router, because these functions here, there's no function. These are low-level functions for minting and burning liquidity tokens, but the real mechanism goes through routers. It's actually the next, not this one. Library, not this library. Router 1. Router 1 is deprecated. Now it should be router 2. Okay, so we have to deploy router 2. Add liquidity. So I rename this one 6, and then do 5. 5 router, yes. And router is pretty. Okay, add the router here maybe. Oh, anyways, we can also pretty much do the same thing, except that it's router. Where's router? Contracts. No, it's not there. Okay, it's not V2 core then. Okay, so router is in Uniswap periphery. Uniswap periphery. We also have to install this guy. Uniswap V2 periphery. Uniswap V2 periphery. Okay, so that should be next. We deploy the router. So we did this V2 stuff. So the only thing we have to do here is to change that thing to refer to the router. router should be. How can I not see this? Refresh maybe? To call into the right directory. Not Windows. Uniswap V2 periphery. Uniswap. That's a bit confusing. Okay, why is not there? Why isn't it there? Okay, close and install. Okay. Contracts. No, beyond. And we're looking for router V2. Uniswap V2 router. Okay, this one. V2 core. Okay, so that's not V2 core. That's gonna be periphery. Other than that, it's exactly the same stuff. So we deploy, and then let's see. This is the router, and I also want to see the router address. What's the parameter? Contracts. Okay, constructor address. Oh, there's this wrap ether address, which is for the method that we add liquidity ETH. So I don't have that. Factory is what? Oh, it's a factory address. So do I have that? It's a pool address. I don't have the factory address. Factory address is here. No. That's a bit annoying. Because there was this contract here, and I use a deployer. Oh yeah, I should have printed the factory address. Problem here is that if I rerun, I will have another. Don't think I have a choice though until we run this guy. Truffle, Margaret, V4 to get the address of the factory. Tokens are defined. What's your problem here? File router. Oh, that's afterwards. Right, so I should have these two addresses. First one is the factory address, and second one is the pool address. And second one is the pool address. So that one here, a token that guy don't need, of course, right? Deployer, and I need the factory address. So that how to use that guy with the command parameters. And then I can replace this one with process and factory. And it's no address. That one is 0 basically. Okay. So for the address, dot address, that's for it here from console, and that's the router. Alright, that should work. Not to be run the V4. Deploying contract. Address of undefined deploying contract. So this didn't work. Oh wait, it should have worked. Deploying contract. What's the problem here? Okay. Anyways, the contract address is this one. I thought the deployer would give me the address. It worked for the other one. Maybe question of timing. Not sure what went wrong, but that's the contract address for the router. Console log router. What's the problem? Create property of undefined. Let me rerun this migration. So this is undefined? Undefined, yeah. Not sure why. Await deployer request. Okay, something was wrong with truffle again. Truffle is a bit annoying, to be fair. Yeah, I'm not sure. Right, anyway, this is the contract address now. And I'm gonna put it in this file. Router address. Right, and now we should be able to add liquidity. So for this I need to call the function on the router, which is add liquidity here. Add liquidity, this function here. What's this stuff? Override, show deadline, return. I don't understand these parameters. Okay, anyways, it's add liquidity. Token A, token B, amount desired, one desired, amount minimum, address 2. Let's see what's the API. So this is the API. Add liquidity. No, this amount desired. Okay. Always add. Another one. I should have done this. I'm not sure. Okay, that's in case it's too much. Oh, this creates the pool for me. I didn't have to do it. Okay, these are the tokens. Okay. Recipient of the liquidity tokens. Okay, so I don't know if I did that. Wow, so many parameters. Let's treat it as okay. Alright, let's try this. So it starts with a pool token. First I need to grab to get the contract. This is for the router, right? So I need to get the router. So we start with the same stuff. Let's call it router. Router. Okay. Then we get the actual route instance, and this is the router address. And then we can create some add liquidity. Liquidity. Alright, so this should fail. This should fail. Oh, crap. I did the stuff again, so that changed my contract address. Uniswap V2 pair is undefined. Alright, so we got the add liquidity, but not the right number of parameters. Token A, token B. Okay, so we have to pass the now values to this function parameters, right? So the API says we have to pass token A and token B addresses, the first two parameters, which we have through environment because it's here, right? I do also token A address, token B address to be complete. So now I can use that guy. Token A address, and then same thing with token B. Then we have amount A desired, so I'm gonna use the same amount with 3 utils bn. of 500,000, so I was putting 1,000, and I have to add 18 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12, 15, 18. Okay, that's amount 1, amount 2. Same thing for minimum. And then 2, that would be myself. So accounts 0. And then there is a deadline, use deadline. So that is timestamp. And I can use, I don't want to revert, so I'm gonna put the max timestamp. Max timestamp. Max timestamp would be, okay, max timestamp is okay, what about this one? End of time Unix. Okay, and then finally is the from parameter. This guy. From parameter. From one line. This is who pays for the gas. Okay, let's try. 4.6 because I already tried it before. Alright. So transfer failed because we have to prove spending that. Therefore, I have to grab these tokens, contracts. Let's take hold of that. And alright, so before a contract can do a transfer, the guy who owns the tokens have to approve. So that's actually just for security. Alright, so for security, so I have to approve, and I have to approve the router to take this amount of A, and the same for B. Okay, so that went through. Alright, so I should have transaction. The contract address. This guy. Okay, and finally, we can ask the pool, which is the current price, which should be 1. So again, let's start a new file. Could use the console, I guess. Let's make a file. Price. And structure is pretty much the same. To have this guy. And we grab the pool. I have to grab the pool address though. Alright, so it's not the router. It's the pool. It's the pool. Okay, so the pool is in pair. It's on the core. Okay. Its closest would be this one. Okay. So what was it? To pair. And then construct JSON. Alright. Set the provider, get the address. Set the provider, get the pair, and this would be the pool pair. Okay, and now we can call pair, and this API to get the price. So the price is this price computing latest, and then we can just call this guy, and you have symmetrical, it's a price 0 price 1, depending which direction you take it. Alright, so price 1. Should have 1 and define. Oh, okay, I didn't add this guy. Alright. 0? Is it 0? It's not 0. What is it? 2 number. Start to 4 7. Okay, the result is not what I wanted, so let's try the reserve guy. Get reserves. Get reserves. Uh, 0 1 2. Okay, we have 3 numbers. What are the result? 0 0 1 and block times. Block times I don't really care. Support block times. What? Pretty high though. And that's what I want. This R0 R1. Is that hash? Yeah, it's hash. Okay, so it's R0. Destructor like this, R0 R1. And print R0 to string. Okay. Okay, let's equal R and R0 and R1. Okay, R0. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. the R1 should be also same. Okay, the price is very odd though. That's very odd. The price is very odd. Probably this weird TWAP thing. And price O cumulative last. Let's try again. Get external view, it turns you into, yeah. Okay, this price is not at all what I expect. Okay, so I got it. The reason why this is not the price is because it's multiplied by how long they were observed. So it's actually a price times time, and it's summed up. So it's not really something that we can infer easily, deduce instantly what should be. Okay, so for now we're gonna stop here. In summary, what did we do? We minted. I think that was done last time actually, but we added the minting to the migration. Then we have this stuff where we created the factories and the router. So the factory also created a pair. So this is the liquidity pool. And then the router was installed. And the router allows us to add and remove liquidity. So that's what we did afterwards. We put 1,000 token into the pool, and we create the reserved. So let's get back to reserves actually. Right. Problem with this script though is that if I rerun it, the environment is going to give different contract addresses. So I need to find a way to save this so that I don't have to deal with this environment guy every time.